Welcome back. Now, a senior Indian politician has been jailed for life for his role in the 1984 riots in which thousands of Sikhs were killed. Sajjan Kumar, an MP from the Congress party at the time, was found guilty of inciting Hindu mobs. In a scathing verdict today, judges said he managed to evade justice because of political patronage. Well, the violence saw more than 3,000 Sikhs killed in mob attacks, the worst of it in the capital, Delhi. It followed the assassination of the Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi by her Sikh bodyguards, angry at her decision to send troops into the Golden Temple, Sikhism's holiest shrine. With me here in the studio is Pav Singh, who is the author of the book 1984, India's Guilty Secret. Pav's family are survivors of that massacre and he's long campaigned for justice. Welcome here to the programme. A watershed moment, this, do you think? It
is, absolutely. When I woke up this morning, I was pleasantly surprised that they finally convicted a leading congressman after 34 years. So I definitely think it's the first step. I do know lots of people are still disappointed that lots of other leaders have gone without justice, and leading policemen as well. But I think it's a really good first step.
Many of the families I've been reading today have spoken about waiting years and years for this moment. Your family too? Tell me about your own family's experiences.
Yeah, so my family on my mum's side are survivors of the massacre, and it was only because of the goodwill of their Hindu neighbours that who protected them for 3 days that they survived. So I've always known the backstory, and my uncle told me exactly what happened. His local MP was Sajjan Kumar, who was convicted today, the way mobs were brought in by buses, the way the police came in to disarm Sikhs, and the way Sikh businesses and homes were identified by lists, voting lists, which were prepared months in advance. So it was a very organised genocidal massacre, very different from how it's been described at the moment, which is a riot, which is very much the language of the perpetrators.
Yes, and it was terrifying. When you read the descriptions of what was happening in those 3 days and 3 nights, absolutely terrifying, with people being burnt in front of people, homes being ransacked, exactly as you were saying. I mean, the judge today condemned the political patronage that allows Sajjan Kumar to evade justice for such a long time. How did that work?
So this has been happening for the last 34 years. There's been a conspiracy to protect the perpetrators from the Congress party, in alignment with the local police and the Delhi police, to protect these leaders. And not only that, but the leaders have been promoted to high office, and it still happens to this day. So finally, one of them have broken, and we've got justice on one of the leaders.
There are more cases.
There are more cases
with prominent politicians.
Absolutely.
I mean, how difficult is it? I mean, with any historic case, there's a difficulty with evidence, with witnesses. How difficult is that with this in terms of people able to feel able to come forward and speak openly?
It's very difficult because over the past 34 years, evidence has been destroyed by the police. Witnesses have been intimidated, so it's very difficult to get convictions at the moment. And also, as the High Court judge said today, India needs to enact a law on crimes against humanity and genocide, which it doesn't have. And he's identified that these are the crimes that took place.
Do people feel able, safe enough now in 2018 to speak openly, say this is what I witnessed, those perhaps were the people behind it? Do they feel safe enough to do that?
I think they do, some do. I think the women don't still. The other hidden story about this, that there was mass rape and horrendous sexual violence against women and young children. This is the hidden story of in India's Guilty Secret, which hasn't still come out. There isn't a safe space for women to come out and talk about their ordeals.
And in terms of all of those families, the victims' families, whatever the final number is, and the numbers do differ in terms of where you actually read, but have those families ever been compensated at a national level, any sort of recompense?
No, they haven't. I mean, in many cases, the records that they had, they couldn't produce. Whole houses were burnt down. So many cases of families who didn't get compensation. There have been families who did get compensation. It wasn't a general across-the-board compensation, and the levels kept changing throughout the years. On top of that, you've got complete intimidation by the killers who are living side by side with the victims. So it's a horrendous situation that these families have endured in the last 34 years, and it still carries on.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and giving us a reaction after today's verdict and the ruling that we got there. Now, do stay with us because throughout the course